This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time! Presenting the champion of the world, WamBams Benamino!
Yo, it's your boy, it's Wham Bam Benamino, and it's another Wham Bam Wednesday. And thanks for coming in and subscribing with us. And remember, the show is free, and all we ask is that you subscribe, give us a little bit of love, and make sure you hit that alert button on the bottom right corner, because it's going to let you know when all our new episodes are. Remember, this is the show about ordinary people who do extraordinary things. And today, I'm so excited because I got two people here today. One, you may know him. He's a two-time Super Bowl champ of the New York Giants. That's right. Brandon Jacobs is in the house. And not only is he here, but he brought one of his baby boys, who's not such a baby, you're going to find out, 6'7", 330 pounds, okay, who's currently a junior in Buford High School, and we're going to talk about his journey too. So super excited about them coming in, and you know what? I think they're here. What's up, boys? What's up, Brandon? How's it going, man?
Going great, man. You know, just football season.
That's it.
You know what it is during football season. Fun. Whole lot of fun, man. Just going, you know, following this guy around, watching him play. Got my youngest son, he's sitting a year out. So, but we having a good season so far, man. It's fun.
That's good, man. Well, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to be here, because I know football season, everybody's at you, and you've done so much for the community and different things. So I know you're pulled in all different directions. And then, of course, you got your baby boy, Braden, man. Nice to be here, man. Happy to have you. Thanks for coming.
Yep.
So, are you, you're over in Buford now playing football. You're right in the heat of it. Did you have a game last night?
No, we did not. We had a bye week last night.
You had a bye week. Well, good. Gives the body a little time to rest. How are you guys doing over there in Buford right now?
We're doing really good. We've had a decent past 3 games. We could have played better
But you won all 3, right?
We won them.
Okay.
It was uglier than we wanted it.
Well, that's good. That means you're not satisfied. And if you're not satisfied, that means you got room to grow. So that's a good thing. What would you think was, one of the things that you think you guys can grow on?
Well, our first game, our defense was phenomenal. Like, they held the number 3 or 4 team in the country to 0 points. So the offense had to catch up eventually. In our second and third game, the second game offense got a little better, but that game was bad for both sides.
Gotcha.
And on our third game, offense was phenomenal, but our defense had to catch up.
Okay.
So it's been
you got a little work.
It's been a battle on both sides.
Well, you know what? If you're struggling and you're still 3-0, that's a good sign. So that means, once again, you got room to improve, and obviously you're still winning. So that's an important thing. So hats off to the coaches and stuff over there. Now, I know you're 6'7", 330. You're probably the quarterback, right? Is that your position? Tell the viewers what position you're playing.
I play left tackle. I've been playing tackle my whole life. I've played right and left. I can play either, but I've been playing left this season.
Gotcha. Now, left tackle, that's a very, very important part in history in the NFL. Left tackle is the tackle. Do you find yourself and feel like that could be you one day?
I do think that could be me one day, because it's been my goal since I started high school, to make it through college and go to the NFL eventually. And
well, good. Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to go back to that. Let me get the big dad over here, Big Brandon. You know what, man? First of all, I know you've done so many great things throughout your life, but why don't you just tell the listeners a little bit about your life and where you came from and you're growing up, because you didn't have an ordinary life. It was different. You struggled. You had some struggles growing up, and you overcome some things. And I'd love you to share that with the viewers.
Well, I grew up in this small place, 750 people, in Napoleonville, Louisiana. It's a place in the middle of the swamp. Some people may call it country. I don't call it country, because I call a place that's the country. We got a bunch of cows and stuff like that. We didn't have that. We had swamp.
Yeah, that's it.
The alligators crossing the road. And, big snakes wrapped around trees.
Did you ever go head to head with an alligator? I'm just
kidding. No, stay away from them.
Well, I bet you they're scared the hell of you. They see you, they probably turn around and go the other way.
Well, we scared each other, because I'm swimming the other way too. Not even that. I'm not going to be in the water with them. I'm going to stand on the edge of the water when you're around there. So, but grew up in Louisiana, man. Grew up, sportsman's paradise, fishing and crawfishing and all that type stuff, man. We used to go out and put get a piece of stick and put like a piece of bologna on the, in the string and drop it in the water. Little crawfish bite it. We pick it up.
Yeah.
We put the one crawfish in the bucket. We go home with like not even 4 or 5 pounds and boil that. It was so fun. But
Man, you love that crawfish.
yeah, it was awesome.
You do a lot of boils, don't you?
Yeah, I have a lot. Hey, Phil, I have a lot of fun, man, when it comes to crawfish. It's one of my family's favorite things to do. When season is in.
Yeah.
The whole family, we get the outboard crawfish. We eat. We invite people over sometimes, and
That's awesome.
we do our thing, man. But growing up in Louisiana wasn't challenging. It wasn't. Grew up in a place where I was pretty much raised by all women.
Yeah. So your dad wasn't involved at all in your life?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I had my Uncle Phil, who was there for me, who was married into the family. My aunt who took me in, that was her husband. So I had that. I sort of had that father figure.
Who's your aunt's name?
My aunt Diane.
Diane, big shout out to Diane out there,
Diane,
man.
no
she's,
question about
she's a
it.
hero in herself,
No
raising
question.
you.
There's
You
no
know,
question.
so God bless her. God bless her. So go ahead.
So I had that, and grew up. They made me play football, but that was before she took me in. She thought it would be something nice for me to do because my cousins did it. So all of us went and played football, and I didn't really like it at the time, but I did it because it was something that they wanted me to do. Mm-hmm. I ended up being really good at it. So, I mean, my first time touching the ball, I took it 80 yards.
Just like that.
Just like that.
First time ever.
First time touching it, went 80 yards. Like I was way faster than everybody. I was just much different than them. So I just used football and played it. And sometimes a year or so come where I didn't play. Mm-hmm. But it was cool though. It was a nice experience.
Did you play other sports too? Growing
I
up?
did. I played basketball.
Basketball.
I did a whole lot of stuff.
Are you a baller? Can you ball?
Oh yeah, I was really good for my. I got recruited for basketball.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was pretty solid.
All right.
Yeah.
So, but what sport did you like the most?
I didn't like really either one of them.
Really?
I didn't really care for sports like that.
Okay.
I didn't, but I did something because football, I was really good at it, and it was really easy to me. It came by easy.
You know what, dude? It's so funny that you say that because I've actually had this conversation with somebody before because they're like, I don't know what I want to do in my life. And I always tell people, it's not sometimes what you want to do in your life, but it's the life actually finds you. You know what I mean? Like you just said, you didn't really like football, but you turned out to be the #1 leading touchdown rusher for Giants history. You know what I'm saying? So it found you.
It found me.
It found you.
That's one thing I could definitely admit. I did not go out looking for football. Football found me. It made me who I am. Gave me a bunch of resources. It put a bunch of people in my life that I would never, ever thought that would be in my life. So, including this guy.
Yeah.
So, football is, I credit football for a lot of stuff, a lot of positive and a lot of negative stuff as well going on, So, I love it, just having the chance to coach him, from the time he was 7 and a lot of the other boys I coached.
Right. Getting back, let's go back into your journey because I know a lot of people don't really know. But you actually went to a junior college, right? You didn't go
junior college.
You went to junior college first, and from junior college, then I know you ended up at D1 in Auburn and playing with there, and you had 2 solid running backs in front of you at the time. And here you are, 3rd string running back. What was that like going into finally you're D1 and you're thinking, hey, this is what I want to do, and I'm trying to use this as a platform to get to the NFL, and you got 2 guys that are in front of you. But you're just as good, if not better.
Well, it was a very interesting journey for me. I went to college, Coffeyville Community College in Coffeyville, Kansas. That's Jayhawk football, the best football in the country.
Nice.
Best junior college football in the country, bar none. I'll argue with anybody.
There you
go. I did that. I wasn't eligible out of high school. I had every school in the country coming to recruit me. And when they found out I wasn't going to be eligible, this is something for a lot of the kids I do who don't take school serious.
Right.
They came, I wasn't eligible. All the schools were recruiting me. When they found out I wasn't going to be eligible, they all dropped off. They all left. I was the #1 player in the country. All the recruiters, all the schools dropped off. Auburn stayed and a couple other schools stayed, but Auburn got me placed into this junior college.
So they're the ones that helped you in the junior
Yeah.
college. Okay, well that's awesome. So they
Yeah.
actually said, "Hey, let's find an alternative to try to get you to Auburn."
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
they
cool.
they created the street for me to drive on to get to Auburn. No other stops but Auburn.
Nice.
So I went to junior college. I actually left high school a couple months early. After basketball season was over, I went up and I actually got my high school diploma from Phil Kinley High School in Coffeyville, Kansas, because they wanted me to come there for spring football. So they put me in high school there.
Right.
So I was staying on a college campus in high school,
Wow.
in junior college, and I would go to class in high school.
What was that like?
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Did you feel like such an adult? Like, man,
did.
I'm a man.
Well,
I'm a
when I
man.
first got there, when I first got there, it has this big mound of snow in the middle of the our courtyard there in the dorm area, where we were staying, and I saw that, and I'm like, I'd never seen snow before.
Right. That's
So
fun.
I immediately like, I don't want to be here. I'm done. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. So I was calling to go home, and like, it's snow, it's cold, because I went. It was February, March when I went.
Right.
It was still cold. In
Sure.
Canada.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I ended up going there, man, just meeting some, people like myself who struggled academically from other places. Just doing it. Then, I was on my own, making my own decisions. I was still in high school. So
It's got to be hard, man. Number one, you didn't have a man in your life to kind of guide you and show you. Obviously, you had great women that were strong and stuff, but now you're in an educational position where you're trying to get your college degree, you can take care of, but ultimately, did you really want the schooling? Or are you saying, hey, I want this as a roadmap to try to get to the NFL? Like, was that the goal, the end goal? Did you go to college to be a football player, or did you actually go there to try to learn something?
I went to college to play football, and I didn't care really I felt like the whole NFL thing for me. I had that when I was 9 years old. Like,
So you just destined. You were just
playing the
destined.
league. This is too easy. I'm gonna play in the league. So everywhere I went, it was easy until it got hard in the league. Right. So I know I had to meet my challenge. I had to meet my match somewhere.
Right.
Right.
But you started that out early, just by going to a junior college and then finally getting to Auburn. And then when you're there, you got two other running backs in front of you as well. They were great guys and, have done well, but you certainly superseded anything that they did there in the NFL as well.
Well, Ronnie and Cadillac, they're both two great guys. Cadillac is assistant head coach for Auburn now, so he's doing really well. He was the number 5 draft pick overall. Went to Tampa Bay.
Yep.
He ended up getting hurt, and he was hurt a bunch in college too. So I guess he got tired of like the injuries and got into coaching, and now he's the assistant head coach at Auburn. Ronnie Brown was number 2 overall. Was the big, strong, fast one of us. Was really good. Went to Miami, created a whole Wildcat package for him. So he was the one who was behind that. So now he's working Auburn media as well. So I mean, they're both doing something super great.
Yep. Absolutely.
Two great, amazing dudes, man, that I had a chance to be with, for a season. So, going to Auburn, and like Auburn helped me get eligible. So I ended up going to Auburn because I felt like I owed them at least one of my 2 years of eligibility.
Gotcha.
And a lot of great things came out of me being there.
Yeah.
Like it sucked because I didn't play because I was a competitor, but I met my wife there. So that's a lot of good stuff that came from there. So, I don't regret going through what I went through at Auburn. If I had a chance to do it again, I probably would do it again.
Yeah, that's great.
Because of what came from it.
So now from Auburn, you end up going to Division II school, correct?
For Auburn, I left Auburn. So going back to junior college, a lot of guys I played with in junior college are coaches. Coach Sire, Coach Anderson, who was already there. At Southern Illinois, and a lot of guys I played with, it was like a hub for Coffeyville football players. Had guys like Muhammad Abdul Qadir that was there, Courtney Abbott, like a lot of those guys that were there, like when I was still in Coffeyville. Then guys I played with in Coffeyville, like Big Linton Brown. It was a lot of guys, Frank Johnson, like Jamarcus Jordan, or Orky Witt, like a lot of guys I played with there went to Southern Illinois. So when I got to Auburn and realized it wasn't going to work for me, I ended up going where they was in Southern Illinois. So that I felt like I was at home because I've been with these guys for the last year and a half. So it was pretty sweet. It was an easy transition.
What's nice, though, and I want the viewers to know is that during your road, obviously going to a junior school, going to D1, going to D2, you still made it to the NFL, man.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, hey, don't stop your dreams. You know, just because you get popped in the face, right? And it's not really the road you think you're supposed to go, but it may be the road that you must go, you know, to be great. Because obviously from there you got drafted with fourth round.
I went fourth round, 110th pick to the Giants.
What was that day like, man? Bring me back to that day. You remember that day
Man,
exactly?
honestly, it wasn't as great as people may have thought it had been because, you know, people think, well, you're getting your dream, you're achieving your dream. I'm competitive. But I'm competitive.
I know that.
So,
I know that.
With that being said, like, there were some running backs taken before me who I thought I was better than, who I should have went before.
Right.
Quite honestly.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. You average 4.5 yards per carry as a Giant, so I would have just gave you the ball every freaking down. You know what I mean?
So
you were unstoppable.
You know, but me getting drafted, I ended up going in the fourth round. I had 3 rounds before that where I thought I was better than every back that was that was in front of me.
Right.
I thought I could have went, and I had already been with Ronnie and Cadillac. You know, and I know what they were going to do. I know where they were going to go.
Right.
So they went early, and deserving. You know, I felt like I could have went early like that as well. But I get it. You know, coming from the road I traveled, it just wasn't. That wasn't on my list.
Right. It's a little bit tougher.
Yeah, it was a little bit harder for me, and I knew that.
But that's what makes you who you are and defined you. Because let's be honest, didn't that drive you? Because you're such a competitor. Maybe you needed that, you know, because that's what drove you to be not just one of the greatest running backs, but probably the greatest running back in Giant history. Right now, you're leading on the leaderboard for touchdowns, right? Yeah. They're scored, you know, rushing. So, you know, obviously not everybody gets the golden path, but sometimes the rougher path turns out that makes you who you are and changes some things.
Yeah, so I mean, my experience was great. I wouldn't change it for nothing in the world. I would go back through everything just like I did if I had a chance to do it again. So I'll probably make a couple of different decisions. I'll probably take school a little bit more serious. You know, so I probably would have done that. Probably, you know, if I had a chance to go back, that's what I would do. I would definitely take school more serious. But nothing else I went through, I would change.
So being drafted, now you're a Giant. Talk about what that first day like was getting on campus. You said you didn't like snow. You didn't know snow was back in the day. So I know in New York it's cold as heck. So, you know, what was it like in the transition of that now?
Well, you know, I get drafted in the fourth round, and we go up to rookie mini camp, and I walk in the locker room, and I see like Eli's locker, I see Strahan's locker, Amani Toomer's locker, Tiki's locker. I'm looking at these guys' locker. They are not there because it's just rookie mini camp at the time. So I go out rookie mini camp. I'm the highest rated rookie that the Giants had because I was drafted. So there was running backs they had that were all free agents that would come in. So I was starting off the stuff, you know.
Right.
And it was great. It was good. You know, I'd still, you know, like I said, it's like a higher level of college now because the vets aren't there yet. You don't even see them yet.
Right.
So that mini camp is over with. They let you go home, and then you come back for the veteran mini camp. So when the veteran mini camp come in, and I got everybody there, like Stray's there, Tiki's there, Eli's there, like all of these guys are there, and I'm looking around like, so they always looking at me like they still, because they don't keep up with the draft. They wasn't keeping up with the draft.
Probably looking at you going, who's this linebacker we got?
Dude, yeah, like who's this big dude coming out? I said, well, I play running back, and they was like, we had a guy, Charles Way, who played for the Giants a long time ago. Yeah, defense.
Yeah, that's right.
Competitive, you know, like,
Sure.
Yeah, we coming. Yeah, y'all better get ready for camp because we coming. So it was a really good experience, man, and like having a chance to meet like guys like Mike and looking at him like, I'm bigger than him. You know, a couple of other guys. So it was we had got Antonio Pierce in from Washington, and we got Plaxico Burress in from Pittsburgh. We had a squad.
Yeah.
We had a squad. So getting there and getting to know all of those guys, and I turned it on, man. It was like, man, this dude not only big, he can run, he fast too, he quick too. Like, wow, we about to do it, you know?
Right.
Eventually we went into the Super Bowls, but you know, not all credited to me, but we had some good, we had some good teams.
Listen, man, you and Bradshaw, I think was the best combo that's in the Giant history for a long, long time, and maybe a long time more, you know? So.
No, that was an underrated beast if you could ever seen one.
Yes. Oh, I know. I am a big fan.
Yeah, injuries to the foot.
Yeah.
He had his fifth metatarsal. You know, you heard that, and you got to cut as much as he was cutting. He was still tough as nails, though, man. He would go out there. He wouldn't practice. He'll go out there and still run hard, play hard, give us what he had, man. The boy was a true dog, man.
Yeah. Now listen, when you were a rookie and stuff, being in there, did you do any? Did they do any hazing with you and stuff? Did you get involved in any of that, or what's it like in the pros? Do they do that stuff there? Like
Yeah,
in college?
they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it. They do some worse than others. You know, they didn't do me that bad because I really wasn't going for any of that.
Well, you're too damn big. They're probably like,
I
yeah.
wasn't going for any of that. You know, like.
What's the worst thing they made you do, or do you watch them make other people do? Maybe you didn't.
I watched them throw people in the hot tub. I watched them tie people up at their feet and their hands, like, and throw them in the cold tub.
Ooh.
Like, we talking about something 4 foot deep.
Right.
So with that being said, like, their legs are tied up. Mm-hmm. They can't stand up.
No.
Hands are tied.
Or move.
Can't get up. So they're drowning.
Right. Save him.
So, threw Jason Pierre-Paul in there because they asked him to do some stuff and he didn't do it one day.
Oh, Peter
said,
Paul.
we're going to show you. We're going to show you. Tied him up and threw him in the cold tub.
That was it.
They'll be messing with your belongings, like cutting your suit. I saw them cut one Saturday morning. We was getting ready to leave to go to a game. They cut the sleeves off of the boy's suit.
Oh, no way.
It was DeMontre Moore at that year. They cut the sleeve and he was pissed. He was looking for somebody to fight. I was the only person who can calm him down.
Oh man, did everybody like icy hot in the old jock straps and all that?
Yeah,
stuff?
bro. So yeah, do all of that.
Don't realize it until you're out and running around.
But like Eli put icy hot on my deodorant one time.
Oh man.
And this is not a rookie haze. It's just a prank.
Right, it's a prank.
Like nobody was off limits.
Right.
You know, so put the thing under there, and I'm like, you know, like it was burning me so bad. So it's times, but the worst thing, I mean, I can't say the worst thing that made me do, like, this stuff I had to make them understand, like Tiki and Jim Finn. My rookie year, Jim was the fullback, and obviously Tiki was who he was, and wanted me to get breakfast sandwiches to bring for the group every
That's not
Friday.
a haze. You got to eat. What's wrong with that?
That's not a haze. But when I'm living in Wayne, when I'm living in Wayne, New Jersey at this time. No, it was Clifton. I was living in Clifton, New Jersey at this time. The facility was in between where they wanted me to go to get the breakfast sandwich. So
You had to go out of your way.
Like, you telling me I got to go out of my way? I got to pass work, drive another 15 minutes past work to go get breakfast sandwiches to bring them back when everybody in this room live right next door to the breakfast sandwich place? No, how about this? Y'all take the money and get the breakfast sandwich and bring it. Fact, I am not going past work to do this.
So you gave them the money instead. You're like, hey, I ain't going to get it. You go get it. Let me. The breakfast sandwich is good.
They were great.
Were they?
I don't even know where they were getting it from, but they were great.
I need a tip, man. You better make a phone call.
I used to get the sausage, egg, and cheese croissant.
Oh yeah, that was the one.
It was one of Tiki's favorite places and Jim's favorite places over in like Hoboken.
Oh yeah.
So they was living over there at the time. I'm like, man, listen, I respect y'all and I respect all the stuff y'all have done in the league thus far, but I'm not going out of my way to go get y'all breakfast. There's nothing y'all really can do about it.
So hazing is a thing, even pranking, I should say, pranking, and it happens all the time. I guess you need it, man, just to keep relaxed, to keep chilled.
Yeah, because everything's so serious around you, man. So if you don't get anything like to like pass, like just to get your mind off of stuff that's going on, it could kind of run you crazy, man.
Yeah, I can imagine that. So playing as a Giant, when did you realize at first, like, you know what, I make a difference here on this team? Like, I'm a difference maker. And when I step on the field, when it's game time, they need me. Like, when they call on me, I'm going to get the job done.
Well, it was Tiki retired, and we had me and Derek Ward in the backfield. And they had just drafted Ahmad. That was his first year, was my third year.
Yeah.
So that really kind of like, when I played the first game I started, and it was in Dallas on the Sunday night, I got hurt. And then we dropped the second game as well. I'm like, man, we can't do nothing on offense right now for some reason. And then I came back, and then we ripped off like 6 straight. But it wasn't the fact that it was just me. It was just the duo between me and Derek, which helped. I helped him, he helped me.
Right.
But without either one of us, we were not as good.
Right.
So when I came back, we ripped off 6 straight, ended up going 6-2, then we lost a couple more games. And then I realized then my third year, like, my team kind of needs me.
Right.
For a lot of stuff. So
that must have been a good feeling, though, when, hey, it's 4th and 1 or it's 3rd and 1, you're on the goal line, and you come running in off the field. They give you the call, So they had the confidence that you're going to get it done. I mean, obviously you trucked many people throughout your years. What was your biggest feeling when you hit somebody? Like, did you enjoy like knocking them out, being the hitter, or were you trying to finesse? I don't see you stiff arming men. I mean, you stiff arm people,
Nah, I didn't really use
but you like to like run through people.
Yeah, I like to use my shoulder. The best part about me, when I run over somebody and I see them get up slow.
That was the thing, right?
Get up slow. If he get up regular, like nothing happened, I'm like, okay.
Next time.
He's a competitor. Okay, I see him have to go at it with him. But everybody got up slow off the ground, like really slow, kind of thinking about whether or not they want to play the rest of the game. Like slow.
Get your heart, break into their soul.
Yeah, so they're getting up slow. Got people asking them if they're okay. That's when that's what made me feel good.
Yeah, I got that. You know what? You got a lot of questions. A lot of people I put out there that you were coming on the show. We had a bunch of questions, and I know one of the questions that was actually asked. And actually, you know what? I'm going to actually pull this up real quick because one of the questions was asked about that, and it came from Tyler Bray. Who was the toughest defender that you ever went against?
For me.
Thanks, Tyler, for the question and following.
Yeah, the toughest competitor I ever played against was Brian Dawkins from the Eagles. The man was a real, true competitor.
Yeah,
he was great. He was great to compete against for the Eagles.
So that was a challenge. So when you saw him on the field, like you looked over there and you saw his eyes, you knew
what it was going to be.
You knew you better buckle up.
Yeah, better be better.
That's great. That's great. Well, you know what? Hey, this is where we go. I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank Cost Plus Processing, the leader in merchant processing. If you are a business and you taking credit cards, make sure you call Cost Plus Processing and ask them about their zero fee processing. You can reach them at 1-855-391-9190. That's 1-855-391-9190. Make sure you tell them about this podcast and get a special prize. And we're back to the show. And once again, I want to thank all of the viewers out there. And keep in mind, if you gave me a question, we're going to get to some of these. We're going to answer some more questions here with Brandon Jacobs, two-time Super Bowl champion, who's here with us today. So we will get to some questions. In fact, you know what? Let's just do one right now. Bryce Burry out there says, wants to ask you, Brandon, who's the best player that you've ever played in your mind?
The best player, meaning offense or defense?
Offense or defense. Who's the best player that you ever stepped on the same field with?
Michael Vick.
Mm-hmm. Boy, he did some amazing things, man. Mm-hmm, oh, my God. He did some things in Atlanta that I watched him because obviously season tickets here while I'm here. He did some things that people just don't do. That's not normal.
Yeah, Michael Vick was different. But the second Michael Vick, the after the post dogfighting Michael Vick,
right,
was way better than the first Michael Vick.
Oh yeah,
he went. I guess he understood. He started understanding, really how to be a true NFL quarterback. So when he went to Philly, he was just on a different level. He was throwing the ball all over the place. What he was doing anyway, but he understood the game and how to be a pro much more than what he did when he was in Atlanta. So and he was electrifying, in Atlanta. But when he was in Philly, he turned it on to a whole nother monster. That was the best player I've ever faced.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one by no means. So you know what? I'm going to shift it over here to Braden here, your baby boy who's just not a baby anymore. I mean, what is it like, Brandon, first, when you wake up, you see him, like you played with tackles, that were his size. I mean, and now this is your boy. This is your baby. What is 16? How old are you, Braden? 16, 17?
I'm 16.
You're 16 years old, man. You're still a kid. You're still a kid, but yet you live in a man's body, a big man's body and stuff. What is it like, Brandon, the comparison, playing with guys like this? Now here's your kid.
Man, the greatest thing is like for me is like I put video up, like of him, and like all of them hit me up like right away. Okay, B, tell him do this, tell him do that, tell him do this. Like that is resources. Like that's why I love football.
Got brotherhood.
I grew to love football, but due to those type of resources I have for him, and waking up and seeing him in the house every day, seeing how big he is every day, and like bro, Dave Dale was our tallest lineman.
Right.
He's his height right now.
Right.
He's
he do something different. Yeah.
So
Brandon, let's talk to you first. Let's see what you want. Tell me a little bit about your journey. So growing up and stuff, I know, you've been involved in sports. What sports have you been involved in?
I played football since I was 7. I've also swam, and since I was 7 and going into 8th grade, I started wrestling.
Did you? So you're doing a little wrestling too. That's awesome. Now, swimming is a very, very tough conditioning sport. Do you think that helped you getting conditioned? Because a lot of people don't realize that, man. Being in a pool and swimming, it's very tiring on your body. You know, do you feel like that's helped you on the football field?
Yeah, I do. I feel like it's helped me a lot more. It's helped me towards conditioning, but it's also helped me towards, like, when I'm on the field, like, ways to breathe to get my breath back faster. Stuff like that.
I didn't think of it like that. That's a very good point. That's an excellent point. Never really thought. Now, what sport was actually your favorite sport?
Well, actually, I forgot to mention. Growing up, I played baseball also.
Oh yeah, what position?
At one, I was like left outfield. I was not
Left
good.
outfield? Okay. you knew your place, huh?
There was one game I hit like 9 or 10 foul balls in a row.
Oh yeah. Well, that's not so bad. You hit 9 in a row. They just
either-
weren't fair.
I was a strikeout or I was a home run.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, that's the one sport. If you're going to do that, that's the sport to doing it, because ultimately you can strike out 7 out of 10 times and be a Hall of Famer. You know that, right?
It's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy, but that's the truth. So you felt baseball wasn't for you.
No, well, he was pretty hard on me about baseball.
Your dad was?
It was something I wanted to do, but I don't think he wanted me to do it that much.
Yeah.
I liked it at the time I played it, but after I grew out of it, I only played it for like 3 years.
So Brandon, is that true? Tell me why. What was up with baseball?
Well, it wasn't too much baseball, what I didn't like. It was just that you got to work to do stuff that you want to do. So we ended up hiring this this trainer who played minor league ball all over the country. He was really good. Like Alex was really good. So we would work on him with like fielding and stuff like that. And it just taking so long to figure it out.
Frustrating, a little
Yeah,
frustrating.
it was like frustrating and stuff like that. So he was a good hitter. He just wasn't too good in the field. Mm-hmm. Like he would crack it like ball go flying, like over the fence.
Right. So it was one or the other. He said it. He said it was one or the other.
Yeah. So it just wasn't. He would just look awkward trying to field the ball and throw. It just didn't look like he could barely catch it. And he was young, so we should have stuck with it a little longer.
Yeah.
Maybe that'd be another sport right now that he'd be good at, but we didn't stick with it.
Now, Braden, you got to know your dad was really just looking out for you, right? I mean, think about it. Do you realize the resources that he put in front of you, even to today's day? Like you mentioned a minute ago, how a lot of the athletes and a lot of his brothers who he's played with or against, or call him up once they see you and trying to help you out with little tips and stuff. That's got to be pretty cool, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it is pretty cool knowing that I have these people that have made it all the way to the highest level trying to give me tips and stuff on how.
It's a huge head start. Head start. And nobody gave him that head start. I mean, think about his journey we just discussed.
Man, my first time meeting an NFL football player, I was playing football. My first time being in the stadium. Well, I take it back. I played my little league Super Bowl in the Superdome, but anything. And never went to any Saints games. I never went to any LSU games. Like,
what was your team growing up? Who'd you like?
My team growing up, you really want to know?
Yes, I want to know.
The Giants and the 49ers were my team.
Come on.
Yeah.
Those were your two favorite, and it just so happens you played for both.
Yeah, because I love
God works in funny ways.
I love Rodney Hampton at the
Okay.
time. So I was watching the Giants like all the time.
Yeah. Giants.
Whenever it would
LT
be on
was
TV
my guy.
anyway.
LT was my guy, man. Lawrence Taylor was definitely one of my idols as well. So that's funny. But how ironic that is, man. The two teams that you love the most, you played on both of them.
Yeah. So I root for both of those teams, and now I root for the Saints.
What about you, Braden? Who's your favorite team out there?
For last couple of years, it was the Bucks because one of the Jason Pierre-Paul, the one that said he got the pool.
I played blackjack with Jason back in the Bahamas one day, right after he got his finger blown off and stuff, and he was sitting there, and he really didn't know what he was doing too much on the blackjack table, but he had plenty of money to play and stuff. And we sat down, and I taught him a thing or two, man. But it turned out he's a really cool dude, really cool dude, man. I really enjoyed spending some time.
I got a funny story about Jason, man.
Yeah.
So Jason, I got my GTR. I got it built up. It was fast, and he was like in the speed.
Mm-hmm.
So he asked me one day. He was like, "Hey." He was, coming into the league, first round draft pick, had a little bread, wasn't crazy. But I got to know him, like before he asked me this, and I'm like, he was like, "Hey man, let me borrow your car for, a couple of days," and blah blah blah. I'm like, Jason, you're not smart enough to operate a vehicle like this. Like, what do you mean? I said, I'm not calling you dumb.
Right.
by no stretch of imagination. I don't want you to think that.
It's responsibility.
But having this type of car with this type of speed at your right foot at any given time, when you're faster than most of all cars on the road around you,
Right.
You are not smart enough to not push the limit every single time. You just can't. So I'm not gonna let you borrow my car. I'm not gonna let you hold my car.
Wow. Wow.
Right.
You're doing, wow. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's fast forward 3 years from then.
Okay. I can't wait to hear this, man.
Right. Let's fast forward 3 years from now. He goes to Tampa, get his contract in Tampa. Right. Goes and buy a Ferrari.
Okay.
Had a Ferrari for I don't know how long he had it, but he totaled it and fractured his spine.
Oh,
neck.
man. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So that happened to him. And I told him, like I said, I'm not calling you no dummy, but you got to have some sort of responsibility to be able to operate any type of sports car.
You know, that's everybody. You know, it's so funny.
Yeah.
We had a couple episodes ago, Ron from Vengeance Racing, who, you know, soups
I know
up these
Ron.
cars. Yeah,
Ron
soups up the
Mystic,
cars.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So great story, you know, about him. But, you know, we talked about that. These kids today, they want the speed. They want the speed. And you want your kid to have what they want, but yet they got to be responsible and understand what the consequences are if something were to happen. And yeah, you're right. Just takes, boom, a split second, your foot hits that gas in the wrong way and then wheels spin and it's all over. And it can happen in a heartbeat. So I'm shocked that you told him no. I'm not going to
Told
lie.
him no, like, man, no, I'm not.
But then again, I'm not. You're
I'm
freaking
not
Brandon
letting you hold
Jacobs.
my car. Like, even though if he was crashed it, he would have paid for it, but I'll care more about his well-being.
Yes.
Versus the car. I ain't really care about the car.
But they don't think it like that.
Yeah, I care about him. Like, I don't want you to go out here and think because you can press it, this gas, and it sits you back in the seat and you go. You got to be smart. Like, you can't.
Listen,
always do
viewers,
that.
I want you to hear that again because you know what? I tell my son this. Rocco loves a fast car. And, you know, I'm like, it's not that I don't want you to have it, but you got to be responsible driving it. And they don't realize we do it because we love our children. We love the people, our friends and the people, not because we're trying to be haters on them and don't want them to have what they want. But I think there's a time and a place for everything. And so that's a real good point on that.
Yeah, and I love Jason. You know, I love Jason. He's one of my favorite teammates. We still talk, you know. One of my favorite teammates. He came down here to do a camp for me. So he's one of my favorite teammates. So I cared about him. I'm like, nah, you're not really smart enough to operate nothing like this. You want to borrow it because you know it's fast. And I talk about it. So that's why you want to borrow it. You don't want to borrow it because it's just a Nissan.
Right. Well, it's not just a Nissan. We know that.
Yeah, but this is the NFL. Who's down to drive a Nissan, Phil?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Brandon motherfucking Jacobs.
Well, because in order to drive a car like that, you have to understand cars and be a car enthusiast.
That's right. That's true.
Not a lot of rich people that got a lot of money gonna go running by a Nissan.
Right.
If you don't know anything about cars, you know what I mean?
That's right. You're right.
So
it's true.
So that's what it was. Like he wasn't really into it. He just heard the way I talked about it.
Right.
And he wanted to see for himself, and I just didn't want him to hurt himself. Because
Braden, do you like that car?
I love that car.
You love that car? You ever drive in that car?
Hey, well, I don't want to drive that car.
No, you don't. You don't want to drive. You don't even think about it. Like, you know, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Dad's gone out of town. You just want to take it for a spin real quick.
Not really.
He just started driving actually, not long ago. He got a truck. The truck we sold you. Outside
nice truck. Yeah,
like that's his. So,
well, he needs a truck. Look, he's 6'7".
Yeah.
You know what? Let's talk about that for a second. What's it like getting into a smaller car? Like, have you ever been in a smaller car, like a Ferrari or your dad's car, like sitting in it?
His GTR is like, I'm barely fitting in it now. It's like my hair will be like on top of the car.
Yeah,
basically.
All right, that's crazy. What about you, B? I mean, it's got to be tough on you as well. You're not small.
I get right in.
You're not small. You get in, you feel
right
comfortable.
In, rip it.
You love that.
Oh yeah, tight fit. It was good. It's big in there. Like the way I test cars, I get in. I adjust the steering wheel, and if I can touch my knees under the steering wheel, I'm good to go. I'm good to go in there.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. So, Braden, listen, man, I know you started, we talked about playing baseball. You know, Dad didn't really want you to play baseball and stuff, so you had to change a little bit. You mentioned wrestling. What's that like? I mean, wrestling, we actually had a guy on here to show last week who wrestled. And, to me, wrestling is one of the hardest sports in the world and I love football. Listen, my first love is football. I could have wrestled in college in Iowa those days. I chose to play football. I loved football, but I was way better wrestler and stuff on that. But the reality is, wrestling is just you and them. There's no excuses. On a football field, there's another 10 people out there. You kind of point the finger, it was his fault or he didn't get his guy and blah, blah, blah. It can happen, right? You got somebody you can point a finger at. And wrestling is just you and him. So What's that like, being the difference between a team sport and a solo sport? Although you did the same in swimming, because swimming is just you and them too. So that's another tough sport. But do you see the difference between the two? Which one do you like better?
I mean, there's a difference between swimming and wrestling, because when you're swimming, there's 7 other people. And wrestling, it's just 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling is that's the longest 2 minutes you will ever experience in life.
Yes, it is. It's true. Unless you're in the UFC now, because in 5 minutes they're long too. Because they changed the game. They changed the game with that. But that's why wrestlers are great UFC fighters and stuff, because they have that discipline. But it is a difference. Now, we're not going to talk about the sport that you like the most, because maybe you like one better than the other. But isn't it true that both sports really kind of help develop you as an athlete?
Yeah, because swimming helps with endurance and breathing and learning how to do stuff like that. And wrestling is helps with aggression, stuff like that. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Now, Brandon, you didn't play any other sports besides, I know you said basketball before, but how do you feel with your son being he's a 4-star athlete right now, right? Probably going to get that 5th star in the next year or so, because he's still got time to go. But the reality is, he wants to play football. That's the road he's saying he wants to go. Are you one of them parents that say, man, let's put everything into football, or do you encourage him to play other sports?
Well, no, I'm the parent that say put everything into football because of his size.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If he was probably 6, let's see, if he was 250, 260, saying we'll be putting stuff into basketball and playing tight end. And football, we'll still focus on football, but he'll be playing basketball. He'll be doing that type of stuff, which he can play basketball now, but we just never put him in it to get better at it,
Right.
Never really thought he'd be as tall as he is now. So, but we put in all our eggs, we putting all the eggs in the football basket, and we're going to go with it, because that's what we take, and that's what we're taking more serious.
Gotcha. Would you let him do other things on the side?
Absolutely.
I mean, just being realistically, especially now where football is, and with offensive, using your hands so much more today than ever, and people utilizing different skill levels of how they swim and rip and turn, and where they place their hands and stuff like that. That's kind of part of a little wrestling, a little jiu-jitsu. There's some other things that could be involved in there that actually can help people as well develop as being a good and a better football player.
Well, that's what I want him to do, though. I want him to do this summer. I want him to do some jiu-jitsu and just work. Just keep the aggression there.
Good Lord, he's going to have a hard time finding a partner to roll with him.
Well,
if they see him on a mat, they'll be like, who's this monster?
So he understands the wrestling part of it, so that's why I know it wouldn't be nothing for him to go in and work and learn some things and get his endurance up, stuff like that. So, I mean, a lot of hand placement when it comes down to being an old lineman and blocking and hand placement, punching and stuff like that he can gather from there.
Yeah, for sure. So, Braden, I know that you played football at St. Francis, right? Now you moved over to Buford. Buford's got a very well-known, obviously, football program. It's a lot different than most programs that are out there. What's it like being part of that?
Well, firstly, going from this school with 300 students that we basically made their football team.
Mm-hmm.
My dad brought me and a couple of my youth teammates there as freshmen, and we were freshman and sophomore year. We did great.
Right.
No one knew who St. Francis was before that, but then going to Buford,
they're like 2,000 people, right?
Yeah, with all these 2,000 students, I still see a new face every day, and I've been there for 6 months.
That's funny. New face every day. So was it challenging, or was it something that you really wanted? Were you nervous at all? Were you scared going from a smaller school to a bigger school? Or, I mean, obviously, you're the big guy on the campus either way, but you're still inside. Did it play with you mentally at all?
I mean, I was more nervous about football than going to the school, because I had prepared myself. I was like, this school's going to be huge, because we moving to our house in Buford now. We passed the school. I was like, wow, that's a huge school I'm about to go.
It's like a college campus. It's bigger than some college campuses. Not it's for real. Like, it's the whole road. I mean, yeah, it's a big place. It can be a little bit intimidating. So walking in there, meeting some friends and new people. What is that like? How is it to adjust to a school like that?
It's kind of a lot harder to make friends in a bigger school like that, actually, because you don't know everyone. Like where I came from, everyone knew everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really just this big school of people that just talked and were friends. But at Buford, there's all these different types of people have different preferences.
I bet you that's where football kind of helped you, though, because you got a crew of 50 people there. I'm sure how many's on the team over there, Buford?
Including varsity and JV like both dress Friday nights.
Yeah.
It's like 100.
100 kids. You probably don't know all of them, do you? You know all their names?
No.
So I mean, you think about that, man. You're playing with kids. You're learning each. You're on the sideline. You look at somebody like, what's that kid's name again? Wow, man, that's just crazy. That's just crazy. But you know what? They know who you are, I'm sure. They know who you are, I'm sure. And that being said, obviously, again, you're the big guy. You stand out. People know who your dad is. You know, you gotta. You know, people understand that you come from a football family. Does that put some pressure on you being over there? I mean, you ever anybody try to throw that up in your face, or maybe I don't know if they're going to pick on you, but maybe they would. I mean, there's some stupid person out there that wants to challenge you. I mean, has that happened at all?
I mean, no one's really talked about it because he's been in the NFL. I mean, there's a little bit of pressure because he came from this high platform of being one of the best Giants running backs ever.
Amen.
Stuff like that. So I would go to school and everyone would be like, "Where's your dad?" I was like, "My dad graduated
a while ago."
You're not coming to school today. That's funny. That's hysterical.
But I would just go like at St. Francis.
Well,
I would go.
Well, that's the thing. But you started that program, man. I mean, and you know what, Brandon? I just want to say this to the viewers because you've done so many great things on that field, but you've done so many better things off the field. I'm not gonna lie, man. What you've done after your career. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but it's been phenomenal. I mean, with these youth kids and the youth programs, and not just, and when I say youth, I'm talking from 5, 6, 7 years old, but you worked with them at 8 and 10 and 12 and watch these kids grow, and you continue to develop them. And now you got a lot of D1 college athletes, regardless of whether it's football or not, you have played a part in their life. And, that's got to make you feel good.
Oh, it makes me feel great, man. I got a lot of kids that played with me. That played for me. That's gonna be Power 5 kids. Like I said, we never won a youth championship. You never won a youth national championship. Never won any of that stuff. But all the teams that has won all of these championships and done all that stuff, I have more Power 5 players. I'll have more Power 5 players than any one of them because I coached them. I developed them to know how to play the game, to win at the end, right? Versus being dominant and winning now. Because we used to do stuff that they didn't know. We used to call plays that they didn't know. I'd rather call a play on a Saturday that they don't know, that they get better at doing and develop versus running the play that they do know just to go win. So we taught.
Yeah.
Me and my coaches, we taught the boys how to do the right thing,
Now, being a coach and stuff, were you a vocal coach or were you kind of sit back, relax kind of coach?
No, I was a vocal coach. I was hands-on.
Hands-on, get in the face.
For real, yeah. Like
the most vocal coach.
Yeah,
like that was me.
The same with you, Braden? Does he get in your face like after the game and stuff, or you get mad, during the game, call you? I mean, obviously he coached you for many years. What was that like?
It was really not just me. If he would grab like one of my teammates to something bad, it would be grab your helmet and real stern and just tell you like,
look you in the eyes. He wants to look you in the eyes, man. That's it. So it wasn't just you. So you didn't just pick on this kid. He treated everybody the same. That's good.
Everybody's the same.
That's good. And that's what you got to have. That probably has helped you a little bit, to develop that. So obviously you're Buford. You got a potential to go pro. Go to different colleges. There's some opportunities out there already. I'm sure they're knocking on your door. Have you started visiting some other colleges? There's some D1 offers out there for you and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I can't take my official visits this year until April, but I've been going to games ever since my freshman year summer.
Yeah.
Just going to different schools.
So, Brandon, I know they didn't have this with you and stuff, but what do you think about this NIL money and stuff,
Hey, man, listen, I can dig it. I like the fact that the kids can get opportunity to get some money. I just think they need more structure to it.
Yeah.
Versus what they have, because there's a lot of kids getting these like big NIL deals because of what they did in high school against another 16, 17, 18-year-old guy. But they get to college with the best of the best, and they're not as good as they were in high school. And now these guys are going, and they're not playing. So now they jumping in the transfer portal, which another thing I didn't have then. They jump in the transfer portal, and they leaving, going to a different school with all of the money that just got paid from the university that they signed without a high school.
Right.
I just think they need some structure to it. I like the fact that they can get compensated.
Sure, it's nice.
For being good, yeah, it's definitely nice. But
it
I
helps.
think I think they need a little bit more structure to it.
I mean, there's a lot of kids, and even we talked to, like I said last word with the wrestling, a lot of kids, they don't have scholarships for college. There's only 9 scholarships for wrestling, and so to be able to have a little bit of NIL money that kind of cover the cost of going to college, it does help. There's nothing that now I'm sure you're not going to have any problem with that, Braden. But it is nice to be wanted and to have people offer you certain things. Are you a kind of kid that money's important to you?
Well, yes, I am. I think money is important to me because it's how it's how you live, really.
That's fair, man. You're being honest. All right. So tell me what kind of money that you think is going to do for you. Like, what are you looking for? And not only just money wise. Let's just talk about college. What are you looking for in a school? Because the money's going to be there.
I mean, in a school, I have to like being there. I can't just want to be there for football. Like, I want to like the campus and actually go to school and do stuff other than outside of football.
Right.
And then a lot of these schools, football is becoming more of a passing game than a running game.
Mm-hmm.
Like when my dad played, it was a whole bunch of just run the ball and
God, I miss
score.
those times. But they changed the game, man.
And that thing,
They changed the game. They take the hit and just some of the gear. I can't even believe some of the gear you guys got to play with. I mean, shoot, man. I can show you neck roll. When neck rolls first came out, we didn't know. That was a piece of equipment. Nowadays, you got so much resources and so much great equipment to utilize. But yeah, you're right. Your dad played old school, man. That was just bang, 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 and who's going to bang you the hardest type of thing. So, but yeah, getting into a passing game, but that's important for you.
Yeah,
because you got to protect the quarterback.
Being the blind side, because a lot of quarterbacks are right-handed, so they just turn. They never see me, but that's the most important. I'm the most important blocker on the field.
Have you given up any sacks this year?
One.
So you now, do you feel like that was your fault? Was that one that you're like, oh shoot, I missed it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you own up. Nobody's perfect, and that's good. What is your goals as far as do you set yourself goals like, hey, I wanna go through the whole year without giving up any sacks, or what are some of your goals that you have personally when you're out there playing a game?
I mean, that was one of my goals, was to give up no sacks, but our first game of the season was probably the hardest football game I've ever played.
Yeah.
Against St. Francis Academy.
Oh, your old school.
No, not my old school.
Oh, okay. Not the same. So let's clarify that.
Different school.
Yeah, no, that one's out of state, right?
Yes.
That's right.
They're up in Baltimore, Maryland.
That's right.
That was probably the hardest game I've ever played.
That's good.
Physically.
Gotcha. What is it like when you're standing over somebody? Have you been over anybody that's bigger than you?
No. Well, I mean, only at a camp. There was this 6'9", 6'10" DN I had to go against. He had the longest arms I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Do you like that? Do you like somebody bigger than you over you, or does it kind of make you a little nervous?
I mean, it's more annoying blocking someone smaller than me.
Yeah.
Because you have to get so much lower than them, because they're already
harder.
They're already in that 4-point stance, so 2 inches off the ground.
Right.
So blocking someone that's
that makes sense. I mean, that totally makes sense.
Blocking someone that's 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" even could be easier than blocking someone 6 foot, 5'11".
Right. That's awesome. That's good stuff. Do you have any colleges that you want to go to? I mean, Dad went to Auburn. Is that on your radar? Just curious.
Yeah,
I'm sure some of the viewers know. Yeah,
Auburn is on my radar.
Yeah, they're on your radar. Is any SEC schools here that that you would like to go out, or reaching out to you at all?
I mean, there's Auburn, Alabama, Georgia's been reaching. They've all been reaching out, but
yeah. Can't do your official stuff with that.
Not yet.
So, Brandon, tell me what it's like, man, having your baby boy now. He's going through this process. Obviously, you went through it in a whole different era and different time. You took a whole different road. Now you're seeing that, these coaches, these schools, what they really have to offer, and what's important to you as a father.
It's important to me that he knows there's more than one process you can go through, right? With that being said, I'll explain, okay, there's one process where you want to go to school and you want to go play now from a freshman, and you want to get 3-4 years as a starter and get all the film to get ready to go to the NFL. That's one way.
Right.
The other process is going to a school where you can't go start as a freshman, maybe not even as a sophomore. Maybe you redshirt, then you're not starting until your redshirt junior year. Mm-hmm. Right? They give you 3, if you want to take the red shirt, they give you 3 years left as a starter, or even 2. If you want to go to a school like that, then if you're okay with waiting to play,
Right.
then you go to the Alabamas, the Clemsons, the Georgias, right? But if you're not okay with that, then you go to the school where you feel like need you like right now.
Yeah.
So it's two different. We're not going to do the transfer portal. I told him that wherever he goes to school is where he's going to stay.
There you go.
So it's up to him to do what he needs to do to get on the field. We're not going to do any unless coaches that recruited him were just all the way dishonest. I want these coaches to be honest about recruiting my son because I know what they do.
Right.
They tell you this, they tell you that, and they get you there and they change. I want a coach to come in and be honest with him and be honest with us about what's happening.
What's up, guys? Monster Michael Todd here, and I'm in Cost Plus Processing, the leader in merchant processing. If you're a business owner and you're still paying processing fees, you have to contact Cost Plus Processing. 1-855-391-9190. That's 1-855-391-9190. Be sure to tell them the Monster sent you and get a free gift.
Liam Sennett, thank you for listening. Thanks for responding. Wants to know to Brandon, if you were to get drafted by only one team in the whole world, when you did get drafted, obviously, what would have been your dream pick?
Not the Cowboys.
We already know.
Not.
No.
I didn't really have any dream. I just wanted to play. And even then, when I was coming out of college, if I'd have got drafted by the Cowboys, then it would have been it. I'd have played for the Cowboys. But as I got to the Giants and I always hated the Cowboys in high school because I liked the 49ers a lot and we would play,
Right.
But I don't know. I can't say I got a dream team that I would like to have been drafted by. I don't think nothing is better than who I got drafted by. So
There you go.
think I can always go with that.
There you
'Cause
go.
I've
Well,
experienced it.
you said you love the Giants and you love San Fran,
Yeah.
and you got the pleasure to playing for both.
Yep.
Which franchise was better?
The Giants.
Yeah?
The Giants, no question, was the best.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not even close.
What was it they did different that just stood out? Besides being in New York and being
Well, the Giants, man, they really care. They really care about their players, the organization. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Tisch is just a strong, family-run organization. The family was around. Like, we interacted with the family. They wasn't all these people that just hide behind the curtain and look out only on Sunday. They were there. Like, you can see people on the practice field, like from those families on the practice field, like they were there with us, going like in the trenches with us.
Right.
This is the best, man. Like, they really cared and put us, in a lot of good situations, fed us really well. Like, they cared. We traveled really well. We lodged well. Like, they really cared about us, man. And I can't say nothing bad about the Giants.
They family oriented, meaning, they let your family into when you're traveling stuff, your wife, your kids. What is that like? Because
It was good. That part was good. This guy right here, man, we had family day one day, and we got defense on the field. They going through their stuff and doing a 7-on-7. So this little kid comes run out on the field behind the defense. Like, we in past Kelly now. Like,
right.
people are moving fast out there. They're big. Just a little baby. Took off and ran on the field, and we had to stop practice to get him off the field. This guy. My wife had him down.
Right.
Took out.
See, you knew you were going to be on the football field one way or another.
Took out. They had to stop practice to get him off the field. Like, he could have got really hurt.
Yeah. Could have got squashed. He wasn't 6'7" then.
Real, no.
What was that like for you? I mean, here you're coaching him. I mean, you coached him since he was a kid all the way up, and now this is the first time you kind of let him go.
Yeah, I mean, I could have coached. It's just that I just don't want to anymore because I can't coach. I can't follow him to college.
Right.
I can't follow him to college. I was kind of
You probably could. I mean, you
him.
probably could. But
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't coaching him as much last year. I was on and off the sideline, kind of making my way off the field. Sometimes I'd be on the sideline, and sometimes I wouldn't be. But every game at some point I was on the sideline.
Right.
And I'm actually better off right now not being there and get my time back and not have to go to practice.
Right.
And be there, and I'm having much fun, man. I'm enjoying being in this place.
That's awesome. I think you appreciate it a little bit more too when you can sit back and watch we say the fruits of our labor. I mean, he's kind of the fruits of your labor. Like, this is your son. You created him, you brought him up, you taught him, and now we just want what's best for him, right? And now to see him kind of fly on his own, is going to be exciting. It's an exciting journey, and I know both of you are excited about it. One last thing, if you could tell the listeners anything, something that really helped you become who you are today, because obviously football, and even for you, Braden, football is only going to serve a certain part of your life. It's only going to be one chapter of your life. There's going to be something after football. You can't play football for the next 60 years. I'm sorry, but I'm guessing you're going to live 60 more years, I hope. So the reality is, what's after football and what you do, it's just a journey. So being that you've been through both already, Brandon, and some kids out there today, some kids that didn't have any luck, like yourself, they didn't get drafted. They didn't, you got drafted in the NFL, but they didn't get go D1 initially, but they still found the road. You found your road back into the NFL. But even now after, football, there's still a lot more that you've done, coaching and other things, business-wise. You made some great decisions, great investments, so you can give your kids a great, successful life. What are some things you could say to the viewers about that?
Well, I would always say everything starts off with humanities. You know what I mean? And people always say, well, that's simple. Yeah, it is simple to say please. It is simple to say thank you. It is simple to say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. It is really simple to do that, right? Not a lot of people do it. And having good humanities is draw the right people to you. You get people drawn to you when you treat everybody right. Mm-hmm. And that's what I would start with, man. And I would always say, keep your head down and work and set a goal. There's nothing in life where you can achieve if it's not set. Mm-hmm. Nothing just falls out of the sky.
That's right.
It just doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, football found me. That wasn't a goal I wanted. I created my goal after I started playing football. So it kind of found me, but not that doesn't happen a lot. So I would always say keep the right people around you and keep the people around you that's doing what you want to do. That way you're always involved in something that you want to do. Everybody talking about the same thing, speaking the same language every single day. You're never hearing anything different. So always hang up and be around the people that's doing what you want to do and can help you get to where you want to be.
Amen. Amen to that. Well, there you have it, folks. You heard it, man, from the legend himself, Brandon Jacobs, 2-time Super Bowl champ. You've heard it from his son. Watch both of their journeys. Again, ordinary people done extraordinary things. You know what? As Brandon said, surround yourself with successful people. Surround yourself with the right environment. And guess what? Good things will happen to you. Remember, as Wham Bam always says, if your life was a movie, would it be worth watching? And if the answer is no, then stop being ordinary and start being extraordinary. Okay? And remember, stay positive and keep testing negative. I'm your boy Wham Bam. It's been a great show. Thanks again, Brandon. Thanks, Braden. I'm Wham Bam, and we're out. This broadcast was brought to you by Cost Plus Processing. Reach out and find out why they are the leader in merchant processing at 1-855-391-9190. That's 1-855-391-9190.